to change the team.
Yeah.
Okay.
6:30, we call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum with Melissa Roberts and Mandy Fronsell being absent. This is for public hearing to discuss the budget and proposed tax rate for the 2018-2019 school year. Slowly.
Good evening. Tonight we'll discuss the three budgets that require adoption by the Board of Trustees for 2018-19. Those will be the general fund budget, the debt service fund budget, and the child nutrition fund budget. And then we'll also talk about the two-part tax rate and other tax rate considerations. First, the general fund. Total budgeted revenues are $283,763,068. Expenditures are $283,030,673. Recall that in the revenue budget, there's also an allowance or an earmark of roughly $3.129 million, which will be an amount that will be transferred between the general fund and the debt service fund to make it whole. With respect to the 2018 value study, values were certified as of July 25th. The net taxable value we're using for budgeting is roughly $14.354 billion. And we have roughly $101 million outstanding in values that are still under review by the ARB. This year's increase in property value was 3.65%, which, as you can see, is significantly less than the last 3 years, with 5.51% being last year's growth rate. This is a calculation of the M&O property tax amount. Beginning with the $14.353 billion at a tax rate of $1.06 per hundred, and frozen taxes applicable to the M&O fund of $16.252 million. A 98.5% collection rate is being used for budgeting, and it produces property tax revenue of $165,874,329. State revenue applicable to the general fund includes per capita apportionment, foundation school program revenue for a total of a little over $94 million, with $80.5 million of that being the foundation school program. We're using a 6.2% increase in attendance rate. The breakdown by category of the 2018-19 general fund budget is what you see before you, with the 6100s being made up of payroll and benefit costs for personnel of about $238 million. And the next biggest category is about $25.477 million, and that will be your professional and contracted services as well as utilities and things like that. Highlights of the general fund, I'll just hit the top three. Salaries budgeted, including a 2% average raise for all personnel, totals $195.669 million, and benefits at $42.34 million. Utilities are estimated at $8.394 million for 18-19. So again, there's the totals. And the tax rate we're proposing for the general fund, the M&O portion of the tax rate is $1.06 per hundred. That's 2 cents over the current 17-18 tax rate. We are proposing to increase the M&O rate by 2 cents, decrease the INS rate by 2 cents to keep a flat total rate of $1.39. We are accessing the disaster declaration provisions of Texas Tax Code Section 26.08. We're going to do the 1 year increase that's provided for the M&O rate in order to generate the additional Tier 2 funds and state aid. And then from fund balance, we'll transfer the general fund commitment of up to $3.2 million. It's calculated at roughly $3.129 million, but we rounded so that when the final calculations are made, we can we can move the appropriate amount between funds. There's an agenda item on the regular meeting agenda tonight for that commitment. The debt service fund, we have revenues and other sources of funds budget of $69.088 million. We are estimating property taxes at $52.19 million and an additional $550,000 for delinquent tax revenue, penalties and interest. We'll be using capitalized interest and interest from regular investments of $10.7 million, and then debt service fund balance of $1.891 million, and then also that transfer from the general fund, and some state aid hold harmless money of about $1.1 million. Expenditures of the debt service fund are projected at $69.088 million, with principal and interest being the bulk of that at $68.995 million. And then we have debt service fees budgeted at $92,500. That particular fund has an estimated fund balance at this time at the end of the 2017-18 year of $24.5 million. And that includes some capitalized interest from the 2018 bond sale. The INS tax rate, as I mentioned before, will be 33 cents, proposed at 33 cents, which is 2 cents less than the current year rate. Moving to child nutrition, it's a self-balancing fund. Revenues are generated from breakfast and lunch sales and federal reimbursements. And the categorical breakdown of that, of course, payroll and benefit costs are the highest at $6.7 million, and then food and paper and other supplies at $7.6 million, and the total being $14.66 million. With regard to the tax rate, as I've said, it's a two-part tax rate, M&O for part and INS, which stands for interest and sinking. Our rollback rate this year is a little over $1.42, so our proposed rate's below that. The M&O rate will be $1.06, and the INS rate will be 33 cents for a total rate of $1.39. We have dropped the last few thousandths of a cent off so that we can avoid the recapture provisions of the state funding formula. And that concludes my summary. If there are any questions.
Which is pretty much what we've seen the last couple of go-rounds.
Yes.
Any questions from the board? Based on attendance growth rate, approximately 6.2%. Are we pretty well trending in that direction? You feel pretty comfortable with that?
We're usually around 4 to 6%, something like that.
Okay. Since this is a public hearing, do we have any questions or comments from the public? After all, it's only $355 million.
And she's been working hard to get it balanced. Thank you.
All right, if not, thank you so much for all the work you put in that. I know it's been an uphill battle, so thank you. Since there are no further comments, we'll close this hearing at 6:38. We'll reconvene at 7 o'clock. Thank you. 7 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. 7 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum with Melissa Roberts and Mandy Bronsell being absent. Welcome, everybody, and we will begin the meeting with a moment of silence that you can observe as you feel appropriate. All right, if you'll stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So I'm going to start off with the student report on STEM camp. STEAM camp. STEAM, STEM.
Steam, gotta have that.
Steamy outside.
The art's in there.
afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ixel. I'm in grade 8. This past year, I attended to George Junior High School. We would like to share with you some of the projects we worked on this summer in the STEAM Language Academy.
Good evening. My name is Maria. I am in grade 7. This past year, I attended to Lima Junior High.
Good evening. My name is Kaylee. I am in grade 7. This past year I attended Navarro Middle School.
Good evening. My name is Sabina Lucio. I am in grade 8, and this past year I attended to George Junior High.
Good evening. My name is Nicosi. I am in 7th grade, and this past year I attended Polyline Middle School.
First time you're doing drums can be hard and challenging, but when you get to work with it more, it can be very easy and you can accomplish more goals with it.
What I like in most of the science are the experiments because I can have the hands on the experiment. I like this project because I learned a little of what is the engineering.
I think it was fun building the wind tunnels because we got to create our own design. We worked as a team. We all had different ideas, and it was fun putting all of them together.
What is that front grill doing? Any of it going on the bottom? Can you see? Okay, so it's splitting it? Okay.
The coding was fun too because we also got, if we messed up, we tested it, and then if it didn't work, we get to go back in it and make it better.
How do you feel about engineering, Sabina?
What I feel is that engineering is for me, because this year I didn't know about engineering, and in reality I thought it was for boys than girls. But this program made me know that it's not for boys, it's for girls and everybody, and it's easy.
Now we would like to teach some of the members of the board to fly a drone. We would like 3 volunteers.
We'll bring it on. Let's go get it. We've got an engineer down
3.
here. Engineer.
You're crippled. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a hobby to get out there. So.
No idea. Okay.
We've got 3 groups, so here's one right here. Anybody?
Anyway, Kay, keep going. Come on, Kay, come on.
Hey!
I was wondering like those people Oh, that's fun. It's holding. You're trying to take the H.
Hey, Tyson, it sounds like a dentist drill. Hit it, man.
From everyone involved, we would like to say thank you for allowing us to share our work with you all. Thank you, and good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, dear. You have one of those?
No.
I'd beat myself up over that all night.
Well, the target kept moving.
One of the great things about that camp this year, we actually filled it up. I believe we had to turn some people away. We had so many kids showing up, and we're trying to accommodate anybody who wants to come in next year. So it was a great program. I got to see them making the solar cockroaches. So
Was that through LEAF that helped do that program?
yes, Leaf helped do that. The little solar panel with legs on it and then jitters across the floor.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
Great
great
job.
program. Thank you so much. Do we have any recognitions or awards tonight?
We do not.
All right, introductions.
We got
We have
those.
2 introductions, Mr. President.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, I'd like to introduce you to the Bowie Elementary Assistant Principal, Andrea Rashard. She's a December 2010 graduate of the University of Houston-Victoria with a bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary studies. She received her master's in 2015 in educational leadership from the University of Houston-Victoria. She has 7 years of experience in education, including 5 years of teaching experience and 2 years as an academic facilitator. And as you can see, she is on the job. Next, I'd like to introduce you to the Meyer Elementary Assistant Principal, Aspen Todd. Aspen is joined tonight by her husband, Tony. Aspen is a May 2007 graduate of the University of Houston downtown with a bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary studies. She received her master's in 2011 in administration and supervision from the University of Houston-Victoria. She has 11 years of experience in education, including 8 years of teaching experience and 3 years as an instructional coordinator. She, too, has begun in her new role. Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, audience to patrons. We have anybody sign up? No audience to patrons. This time we need to approve the minutes from previous meetings. Need a motion to approve the minutes of June 19th, 2018 special meeting workshop.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second to that? Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? There are none. Thank you. Need a motion to approve the minutes of June 21st, 2018 regular board meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second to that? Any discussion or questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? There are none. Thank you. Need a motion to approve the August 2nd, 2018 special meeting minutes.
I'll make the motion.
You want a second?
I'll second.
All right.
Sorry.
Any discussion or questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? There are none. Thank you. Board member reports.
You want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay, go for it.
You get more than I do. Technology Committee met this afternoon. I'll just hit on a few of the items. The Hope Line Speak Out phone app, the app for students to load on their phone to report bullying or seek other types of support. The project is complete. Principal dashboard, I believe it was mentioned the other night as well. Dashboard to help organize frequently used forms, directory information, calendar events, etc. is complete. They're setting up the final security groups for access. Raptor, which is the district software that scans visitors' driver's licenses and checks their information against the database to see if they can be allowed on the campus. The new equipment has been ordered for each campus. Technology Services is working closely with the school safety coordinator to configure the updated Raptor system for maximum effectiveness, and campus training and rollout will occur in the early fall. Grow Project. 176 students are on pace to meet the summer usage goal, with an additional 15 students within 100 minutes of meeting the goal. The Grow Project summer graduation is scheduled for Friday, August 24th at 9 a.m. at Lamar Consolidated High School. That's it.
Thank you. Tuesday night we had our facilities committee meeting, and Don Carter Elementary School, the school is open for staff. The furniture has been installed, the building network is operational, computers have been placed, and school will be ready for the students come August 27th. New construction starts. Fulshire High School shell space. Furniture deliveries began on August 10th. Colville Elementary School concrete planks installation is 50% complete, and Roberts Middle School concrete planks installation is 50% complete. Natatoriums. All 3 pools have been filled with water and the pool equipment has been started. Interior finishes are nearing completion at all sites. The pool equipment, lane ropes, starting blocks, and flagging have been installed, and hopefully we can have those ready to go by hopefully middle of September or so we can start using it with our 4th grade programs. And support services, addition and renovation. The construction of the loading dock connector is continuing. The district-wide access controls are active at all schools. The district-wide site lighting, new exterior lighting has been installed across the district. And Foster High School water plant upgrades, new water well and new water storage tank have been installed at Foster High School. We are still waiting on state approval to activate. That's been going on for a few months now. But hopefully you'll be able to get that done soon. And I just have a few little shout outs over the summer. I was able to go over to Lunches of Love and Adrian Gray. They've been serving almost 4,400 kids this summer per day, feeding our LCISD kids, and what we wouldn't do without those volunteers that help take care of our kids over the summer. Saturday I got to go and help with Hope on the Brazos, and of course Jill Davis with all her volunteers. That was a very successful event, and I know this week and next week they're going to still be helping to get those families with their kids ready for school. And last, I do want to have a big shout out to Janice Knight and the Leaf Board. I came on Monday and helped pass out $100 bills to all the brand new babies, but they're brand new teachers. Some of them did look very young. I must be just getting old. But first year, never taught before teachers, and to hand them a brand new crisp $100 bill, you'd think we were handing them the grand prize from the lottery. But they were very pleased, and thank you again to Leaf for what they do for our district. And those are my reports.
Anything else? I'll mention a few items. I had an opportunity to sit down with Representative Rick Miller to talk about things going on in the school district, and one of the things he asked was the 5 top things that we have concerns about the district. So Dr. Brown and staff put together, and I gave that to him. The great thing about that was to find a representative that's so aligned in supporting our school district. We seem to be on the same page on most things we were talking about, so that turned out to be a really good meeting. I met with Commissioner Morales to talk about roads and what's about to happen over next to George Ranch and Ameyer Road. Mm-hmm. As you know, they're going to start rerouting traffic down 762 starting on Friday night, striping and putting in the concrete barricades out there, and that's a 3-year project. We're kind of hopeful that's going to go a little bit faster, because originally they said they were going to work on the north side of the tracks and then do it on the south side. Well, they're doing them simultaneously, so there's a lot of activity going there. The Amire extension, which the road that goes in front of Card Elementary, is supposed to be finished in January. And which means there's going to be a lot of traffic routing down Amire in front of our new school, because you're going to have 762 as a nightmare already, and when they start redoing the traffic over there, we can expect to have a lot of things happen in Amire. One of my real concerns is out there on 762 with all the traffic out to George Ranch High School. My concern is about the accidents potentially we're going to have out there, because we have them under normal circumstances, but with all this construction, who knows what's going to happen. Got to sit down with Dr. Randall and Catherine with a representative from the Holsworth Center to talk about our strategic planning. That was a good session. I really like their approach they're going to take to this, and one of the first things they do is have a visioning session with the board that they will schedule, and then it's going to involve a lot of community involvement, which is one of the things we wanted, so we're looking forward to that. One of the things I mentioned the other night, Dr. Randall and I met with the CEO of Character Counts, and he was highly complimentary of this school district. He saw the enthusiasm, and he said this, he really hadn't seen anything like what he found here, so he was very, very impressed, so I compliment you once again. One other activity I involved with, I'm on the advisory council for the Children's Advocacy Center, so I set up meetings with our SROs to go down there, and it was a good interchange session so they could understand how better to serve our kids in the schools. If there's an outcry, how to handle those. So it was a really good exchange of information, which they found out ways they could get more information to help our kids out should they run into some issues. So those are some of the outside things I've been involved with. All right, Dr. Randall, anything from you, sir?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. It was briefly mentioned at the workshop on Tuesday, but I wanted to personally recognize the Lamar CISD School Board for being named a Texas Honor Board, and our school board is now a top 5 finalist for Texas Outstanding School Board, and I'm so proud to be a part of this team of 8, and I appreciate all of your dedication and service to our students, staff, and our taxpayers. So congratulations on a job well done. It is well deserved, and we appreciate your work.
And I'll reiterate what we said the other night, without this staff out here, we couldn't get it done. So.
We look good because they look good.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
All right. At this point in time, we'll establish our consent agenda for the evening. Item A1, A2, B1, and we did have an addendum on that you got on you. It's just some added information. That's the one we will be approving. B2, B3, B4, B5, B6, B7, B8, B9, B10, B11, all of B12, B13. I do want to pull 14 so I can formally insert the names of the candidates. B15, B16, B17, pull B18 and B19 because I'll be making assignments, a little discussion on that, no action required there. B20, C1, C2, D1, and D2. The only exceptions we have to the consent agenda are B14, B18, and B19. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
Do I have a second to that?
I'll second it.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? There are none. Thank you. Item B14 is on page 119. Pardon me? 119. Thank you, Dr. Randall. I would entertain a motion that we approve the nomination of Justine Durant, Spring ISD, for position 4A, and Daniel Tony Hopkins, Friendswood ISD, for position 4C on the Texas Association of School Board of Directors.
Mr. President, I would like to nominate Justine Durant for position 4 and Tony Hopkins for position 4C on the Texas Association of School Board of Directors.
Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Any questions, discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? There are none. Thank you. Item 18, discussion on board training. I mentioned this the other night, and I said I would make an assignment for a committee to put together what we'd like to have included in that board training. And Catherine, since you did such a good job of putting the initial list together, I gave you the warning it would be people with 5 years on the board, 3 years, and 1 year. If the 3 year doesn't have to be here, that's Melissa Roberts. And the 1 year, Joe, I'd like you to participate on that. And what I'd like to have is by the October board meeting, your list of topics we'd like to have in expanded training for the board with some dialogue under each one of those what those would contain. October board meeting, all right? And then we will take that. We looked at the October board meeting. Get the board get another chance to look at it, see if we want to refine that, and then I'll work with Dr. Randall's staff to try to fill that out. What we would like to accomplish.
You said it was Catherine, Melissa, and Joe.
Yes. The board self-assessment. I did give you a couple of options on that. One was the ones developed in Oregon, and the other one was the TASB. And what I'd like to get is your impression of which one of those instruments you'd like to use, or throw those out and do something totally different. Yes, ma'am.
I went over both of them. The one from TASB is more like a checklist to me.
Right.
And it doesn't really give you the information I think we need. When I first did the Oregon, I told you earlier, it got kind of wordy, but that's only because it's giving you indicators. But I think if we work with it, I want us to make sure that we make work with this one, that it's something that will have legs and move on after we're gone, so that it's something that we can use from year to year. And I really do like how when you're doing it, you can actually come up with a score so you can kind of see where we are. And I think that's helpful. And just do the printing a little bit.
Yeah, we get the printing a little bigger. Yes.
Can't read it.
Once we decide on one of the systems, Melissa had mentioned integrating in,
yes,
right.
Actually getting the 360 feedback, yes.
But I think we should probably do that first before we do that.
Yeah, so what my intent would be to have sometime during January, we'll actually do this formal review. Between now and then, I'll develop something where we'd be able to get something simple to get some feedback from the staff before we go into that meeting, so we'll have that input and we can use that for our own self-assessment. So we plan on some type of workshop just for the board in January to actually do that self-assessment.
But I just felt like the goals were pretty aligned with what we do.
Yes, I think they were, and again, this meets a couple of the objectives of our of the audit we had that we were kind of short on. So, any other? Was that the instrument?
No, I agree.
Okay, good for y'all. All right, great. Thank you so much. I believe that takes care of all of our action items. We have right now we have a presentation on the.
Do you want to do your
resolution?
Oh, I'm sorry.
And the donations.
Rocking and rolling here.
Do you want to read the donations?
No, I put it up here and I circle it and highlight it, and then
It's okay. We got a lot of things going.
Keep you on track.
Okay.
Donations. We've got a lot of them. This is the addendum. Adolphus Elementary PTO donated $30,867 to cover the cost of the digital marquee to be installed at Adolphus Elementary School. Austin PTO donated $5,901.13 to purchase 4 round 46-inch outdoor tables, including the installation at Austin Elementary. Bentley Elementary PTA donated $35,888.50 to purchase a marquee for Bentley Elementary School. Campbell Elementary PTO donated $6,092 to purchase a sound system for Campbell Elementary School. Escal Institute of Advanced Technologies donated $10,000 to Common Threads. The Sanctuary Fellowship donated $6,000 to Common Threads. Frost Elementary PTO donated $6,650 to the math program to support math fluency at Frost Elementary School. An anonymous donor, I need to get to know this person, purchased a 53-foot band trailer valued at $128,018 or $18.08 for George Ranch High School. Friends of Huggins donated $23,000 to purchase 30 laptops and carts at Huggins Elementary School. And Pegasus Schools Incorporated donated $5,000 to purchase books for educational enhancement at Wertheimer Middle School. Thank you, everybody, for your generosity. It just overwhelms me how we get supported here. Thank you so much. And now, would you mind reading the resolutions that I was trying to run past?
Whereas in the United States, almost 16,000 children under the age of 21 are diagnosed with cancer every year, approximately 1/4 of whom will not survive the disease. And whereas cancer is the leading cause of death by disease among Texas children between infancy and age 19, and whereas an estimated 1,600 children aged 19 and younger in Texas were diagnosed with cancer, and whereas the objective of Childhood Cancer Awareness Month is to put a spotlight on the types of cancer that largely affect children, survivorship issues, and help raise funds for research and family support. Therefore, the Board of Trustees of the Lamar Consolidated Independent School District declares September 2018 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in Lamar CISD and encourages members of our community to reaffirm their commitment to fighting this terrible disease. August the 16th, 2018. The second resolution, whereas September 15th is the anniversary of Independence Day for 5 Latin American countries and is celebrated as a major cultural event by Hispanics in this country and across the Americas. And whereas it is appropriate at this time to recognize the rich heritage and the significant contributions to American life by persons of Hispanic ancestry. And whereas schools are in a unique position to share an appreciation of Hispanics among children from all races and backgrounds. And whereas Lamar CISD schools commemorate Hispanic Heritage Month with special activities and observances. Therefore, the Board of Trustees of the Lamar Consolidated Independent School District declares September 15th through October 15th, 2018 as Hispanic Heritage Month in Lamar CISD and encourages members of our community to share in the celebration of our diverse American heritage.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Thank you all for keeping me on track. I look up and it says stars, so I'm ready to rock and roll on stars. Step on up.
Honored board members and Dr. Randall, members of the public present, we are here to look at this year's star scores and accountability ratings for 2018. There was no significant changes in the structure of the STAR test this year, unlike the previous discussion we had in April where we talked about the changes in 2017, which included shortening the test, which led to a statewide decline in performance results, and also the introduction of new performance level standards that included approaches, meets, and master's grade level, as well as did not meet standard, which meant that the students failed the test. We didn't have those elements present this year. We did, though, have one major issue of note, and that was the issue that we had with the online tests that you've probably heard about in the news in LCISD that affected about 1.9% of our reading test takers, or 381 students. It didn't mean that all of those students failed the test. It just meant that those students were disconnected for a time period of 15 minutes or longer. Statewide, we were fortunate in LCISD. Statewide, it affected between 110,000 and 140,000 students, or approximately 4% of all students taking the test on May 15th. It was similar to an issue that ETS had back in 2016, but it was a little bit larger in scale than what we saw 2 years ago. When we disaggregate the results and look at it by grade level, starting with reading performance, our average STAR score in LCISD remained 8 points above the state, with the highest performance totals at 5th and 8th grade, where students have multiple opportunities to take the test. In 3, 4, 6, and 7, there's only one opportunity to take the test. So those grade levels are known, the 5th and 8th grade levels are known as the Student Success Initiative, and that's where they're actually required to pass the test in order to go on to the next grade, which isn't a requirement at the other grade levels. Math performance was a close reflection as well, with the highest performance being, once again, at 5th and 8th grade. Overall, we were an average of 6 points above the state mean for every grade level, 3 through 8. Writing, we were an average of 9 points above the state grade level in both grades 4 and 7. Science, we were an average of 9 points above the state performance level in grades 5 and 8. And then finally, with 8th grade science, we were an average of 10 points above the state performance level. When we look at the end of course tests, I ask that you take this in the context in which it's given. We, in Texas, measure performance on the EOCs based on the spring administration primarily, because that's when the majority of students take the test. So if a student, for instance, failed the test during the spring administration, they have multiple opportunities in June and December, and then the spring of the following year or the following year after that. They have multiple opportunities to retake the test. So our performance for English was 8 points above. English 1 was 8 points above. Same with English 2. 6 points above for Algebra 1, 3 points for Biology, and 2 points for U.S. History, with the biggest performers being the Biology and the U.S. History, being over 90% of students passing that test. When we take a look at the way that we disaggregated the data and the reports, the target goal is that 60% of students in the state of Texas between 18 and 25, by 2030, 60% of those would be ready to go on to college or some kind of career or military pursuit. And so with this group, what we see is that right now, those scores align to what we call the MEETS grade level standard. And so we're very close to being at the 60% grade level in math, reading, and science and social studies. And we have a little bit more work to go as far as writing. In April, we discussed the new accountability system that was based on House Bill 22 out of the 2017 legislative session. And that legislative session led to a system that's has some similarities but is not like what we've seen before. Unlike the 4-index system that we've had since 2012, we now have a 3-domain system where we measure student achievement, which is passing rate at each one of those levels, the approaches, meets, and masters. We look at school progress, and then we look at closing the gaps between different student groups. So if we look at domain 1, for elementary and middle schools, all of the data comes from the STAR test, and it's purely a reflection of the STAR test. For high schools and the district as a whole, there's a division between the STAR results at 40%, and then 40% is what we discussed back in April, the college, career, and military readiness, or CCMR factors, which are things like the AP test scores, SAT, ACT, the Texas Success Initiative assessment, as well as dual college credit hours and industry certifications and wanting or preparedness to go into the military. So all of those combined also count as 40% of the high school or district score. And then graduation rate makes up the final 20%. When we look at the student progress domain, there's actually two different indicators within this domain. One of them is the academic growth, which takes a look at it takes a look at how many students are moving from one performance level to another one, how many students are moving from approaches, which is passing, to meets, which is post-secondary ready, to masters, which is what we used to call commended or advanced. And then part B is relative performance, and the relative performance compares the performance that you have in domain 1 versus what your percent of economically disadvantaged students are. And answers the question, if you're above where TEA expects, then you earn a grade of an A or a B. If you're at where the agency expects, you earn a grade of a C. If you're below, you would earn a D or an F. And then finally, domain 3 takes the information from the other two domains and then disaggregates it by race, special education status, or formally special education, continuously enrolled or mobile students, English language learners, or economically disadvantaged students. With this new system came some old labels that we're familiar with. They just realigned it for a new purpose. An exemplary campus, what we knew 10 years ago, would be a campus that would earn an A. A recognized campus would be a campus that earned a B. Acceptable, C. In need of improvement would be a D, and an F would be an unacceptable campus. And each one of those, if you've looked over the past 24 hours after TEA has released the scores, each one of those corresponds to a numerical range. 90 plus, A. 80 to 89, B. 70 to 79, C. 60 to 69, D. And then anything below 60 would have been an F, which is pretty analogous to what you would find in a college type grading scenario. So if we were to take our scores for LCISD and compare it versus what that scenario, what that scheme looks like. For domain 1, we earned an 86, which would have received a letter grade of a B. Domain 2A, 84, once again, a B. Part B of domain 2, 81. And then we earned an A for closing the gaps in domain 3. Once they get through giving a letter grade for each component, then the state will take the best of the first 3 components times 70%. Domain 3 times 30%, which is the minimum allowed by state law. And they would combine that into a final score, which the final score for LCISD was 87. And 87 would correspond to a score being a B. Okay? Now, due to the Harvey provision, we were one of the 92 districts in the state of Texas that had 10% or greater of our students enrolled at campuses that were either affected by students being displaced by Harvey or staff being displaced by Harvey. And because we fell into that category, instead of receiving a letter grade for this year, we received a designation of not rated Harvey provision. However, with that said, when the next what if report comes out for the Texas legislature in December, that B will show up in December's reports to the legislature, as well as a letter grade for every campus in LCISD, roughly based on the same scheme of 90 plus an A, 80 plus a B, etc. Our campus ratings for this year used the old labels from the old system. That was either met standard or improvement required. It assigned a label not only overall to the campus, but also to each domain. Where an improvement required campus would be one that received an overall rating or overall score of less than 60, or 3 out of the 4 domains would be less than 60. All of our campuses performed well enough that they earned an overall rating of Met Standard for 2018. Distinction designations remained in place, which, just as a reminder, distinction designations recognize campuses that are in the top quarter of their performance group, which is a group of 40 similar campuses based on demographics. There's designations for ELA reading performance, math, science, social studies, academic growth, closing performance gaps, and post-secondary readiness. We're very pleased to announce that this year we received 78 distinction designations, which was 2 more than last year. We had 15 in reading ELA, 14 in math, 9 in science, 2 in social studies, 13 in both academic growth and closing performance gaps, and 12 in post-secondary readiness. So when we look at that at the campus level and look and see who got everything that they possibly could out of distinction designations, we have to give the gold medal to Austin, Campbell, and Frost for earning all 6 out of their eligible designations. The Red Ribbon Award goes to Hubenek and Long, who earned 5 out of 6 and are in an elite group of about 10% of Texas schools. And then we give honorable mention to Dickinson, Jackson, Lamar Junior High, and Foster High School, who earned 4 designations each. And I'm sure that those campus principals and their staffs are very pleased. And as another note, we talked about last year, Terry earned its first. This year, Terry earned 2 distinction designations. So, are there any questions or comments at this time?
You're going in the right direction.
Going in the right direction. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you to our campuses for your accomplishments.
Yes.
All right, we have a couple more presentations this evening. The Whole Child Safety and Wellness Model. Yes. You're on.
Making sure. Thank you, Brian. It's a privilege this evening, Mr. President, members of the board, and Dr. Randall, to share our progress on our Socio-Emotional Program that we have begun this year in 2018-2019. On page 332 of the board book, you can see easily the progress in bulleted form. I'll quickly touch base on some of the highlights and answer any questions you may have before moving into our Pay It Forward project that we've adopted for this year that will be district-wide. To date, the following activities are either in progress or have already been completed. All of our administrators have been introduced to the program character counts, and we've reviewed all of the expectations for service delivery for them. All of our counselors and family support service specialists will receive on-site character counts training, which they had recently this week. All counselors will receive the complete program execution materials that include guidance lessons, group activities, newsletters, announcements, faculty training materials, and collateral pieces for campus implementation. I was fortunate enough to be at the training for the counselors, and the 9 that were trained in the official program to become our trainer of trainers were standing up and sharing what they've already rolled out at their schools. And Ms. Danziger and I were talking earlier, a teacher knows nothing better than a make and take. And those counselors had everything they needed to roll out a robust character education program this year. So we're really excited to see that. As you all have probably noticed, we have banners throughout the district now. These will be placed in every school, and they represent each of the character pillars. Secondary Fine Arts is creating public service announcements around each of the pillars, and those will be used in our schools throughout the year. Our website banner will feature our character pillar each month. Student Support Services app is going to launch in September of 2018. This app is very new and innovative, and it allows students 24/7 access to help. In the past, they've been given cards or bulletins or pieces of paper with helplines on them. But now they can put the app on their telephone and they can have immediate access to mental health professionals at the Hope Line, access to anonymous bully reporting via Lamar CISD Speak Up, and also access to 24/7 Crime Stoppers. And as they explained during the counseling training, a student who's meeting or facing a crisis may even be late at night. Instead of waiting for the next day or just suffering alone or even engaging in self-harm behaviors, the app is on their phone. They can call someone right then with the ease of just swiping their cell phone. Meetings have been held with our Fine Arts and Athletics Department to create leadership opportunities for students in our first character pillar, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Every single high school teacher is going through mental health first aid training during our back-to-school professional development days that are coming up. And in September, we have National Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And I'd like to share at this time our Pay It Forward activity, in which we celebrate the character trait of trustworthiness, as well as acknowledging our Make a Change initiative for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Trustworthiness, as defined through our character counts, is about being a good friend, about being a loyal friend when someone is in trouble or in need. And so we felt that Pay It Forward with character counts would take a beautiful topic, a beautiful way for us to show that as an entire district through our Make a Change initiative to Pay It Forward. This is a part of our Socio-Emotional Learning Initiative. In it, and I know how to turn this on. I think it's harder than flying the drone, David. Is it not?
It's up.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. The opportunity, it presents itself for us to live our promise to parents. And we're relating that to every activity we do and at everything we do at principals' meetings. Our promise to parents says that we will personally model the character traits that we wish for our students to develop, that we will demonstrate our faith in people by setting high goals, and that we will focus on the right thing. And that's what we're going to be doing in the last 3 weeks of September. What we're going to do is support childhood cancer awareness by collecting change during the last 3 weeks of September. We'll be doing this throughout the district in every department. Child nutrition, transportation, here at Brazos Crossing, in every school, every department, every campus, every extracurricular activity will be doing this.
Every board member.
Every board member, yes. What you have on your desk is a sample of what we'll be doing in every classroom. Teachers will be provided the stickers, and they can provide the container. The kids can decorate it. It can be a big vase. It can be a globe. It can be anything they want. We have a letter prepared to send home to our parents, inviting them to help their child donate change to for childhood awareness. And it's cancer awareness. It is basically our way to give students an opportunity to learn about being a trustworthy friend, not being just responsible for themselves, but help to be responsible for others. When we ask our principals at the principal meetings to please raise your hand if you've had a child in your campus who's had cancer, every single hand goes up. Every single principal has dealt with that and helped a family in pain. And what we found that it isn't the medical cost that our parents need the most help with. It's the cost of transportation to get to the hospital. It's the cost of a hospital room close by so they can stay with their child as long as they're in the hospital and having treatment. Those are the hidden costs in helping to save your child's life. And the change in the jars will be donated to an organization that was created exactly for that purpose. Each classroom is going to have that. These are our change jars. The change jars are symbolic of how many small gifts can make a large difference. We're not selling anything. We're not competing as tracks or campuses. We're not giving any prizes. We're simply asking people to donate their change to help make a difference in someone else's life. I know there are thoughts out there, as we spoke with principals, that there may be some children who don't have change, just can't afford it themselves. And we have a donor who is going to be giving $100 in change to all of our campuses, all of our elementary campuses, so that the teachers can have them run errands, do activities, so that they too can put their hand in the jar to help a friend. We want every single child to have that opportunity. And we're doing it simply because we're trustworthy friends and someone needs our help. We're really excited that we have one of our own children who's publishing a book about his journey in cancer, along with his mother and father. And I'd like to play the book trailer for you at this time. Super Van.
Get into it.
very blessed at our principals meeting to have Van and his parents come just to talk a little bit about the experience you have when you go through this experience with your child. And we're also very blessed to have a special friend of Van's who actually made the publication of this book possible. I'd like to share him with our members in the audience and the board this evening. He's an inspiring individual who helped us find our way as we negotiated this project. Please help me welcome Dominic Austin.
Thank you so much, Mr. President and fellow board members. Sorry if I take this off. It is my distinct pleasure to partner up with you guys for Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month. Cancer is a cause that is near and dear to my heart as a cancer survivor as of January of 2015 after going through 6 rounds of chemotherapy for stage 3 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And I was faced with a reality after living in Los Angeles, and I had a number of parking tickets that accrued. And out there, parking tickets are business. So granted, I earned some of them, but to make a long story short, the day before my treatment was supposed to start, my car got towed. And I ended up having to walk to treatment by myself there and back. And not to mention, while I was there, I met a young lady who was trying to figure out how she was going to get home from downtown Los Angeles back to Long Beach, California. So the more research I did, I found out that 1 out of 5 cancer patients will cancel or delay their treatment due to lack of transportation resources. And that statistic was published by the National Cancer Institute. And so it was on our heart. You know, once I took those first steps by myself, and as I continued to walk and listen to other people's journey, I wanted to do something that would make an immediate impact on the lives of patients. And so that's how we came up with Tackles for Cancer. And our mission is to improve the quality of life for cancer patients through transportation. So it is an honor to partner up with you guys for this wonderful initiative. And we're absolutely thrilled that Supervan's story is going to be out there, and it's going to help and enable a lot of other kids that are going through pediatric cancer and a lot of other people who are tackling obstacles in their life in general. So thank you for that, and I'm looking forward to teaming up with you guys here in the near future.
Van, did you tell them why you came up with Tackles for Cancer? We're going to get to that.
Yeah, so I tried to keep it real short, but I did used to play football back in the day. So I'm a retired football player. I played for the Rams and the Colts. Grew up right here in Sugar Land, not too far from here. Lamar Consolidated, got a lot of nice stats down the street there. And so after I stopped playing football, I worked in corporate America in the oil and gas business for about 11 years. 6 of those years with Shell in sales and recruitment. And then that's when I got diagnosed with cancer. So I basically combined all of the work that I'd done up until that point in my life, and I used my platform to help other people tackle cancer. So feel free to visit our website. You can read the whole story. And again, thank you for your support.
So we hope everyone will be joining us and donate change in the change jars, and we'll help make a change for a lot of our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Ben is a student at one of our elementary schools.
Fantastic.
He is at Arredondo. He'll be in 4th grade next year.
Wow. His mom teachers are used to teaching her.
So there's a whole story.
Thank you for the report, and thank you for the initiative, and I am blown away by how much progress y'all have made in such a short time on this. I'm amazed. Thank you so much. School safety update.
Good evening. Tonight we will have an update on school safety in Lamar CISD.
I will say that when Dallas came on board earlier this summer, he had a lot of conversations with our principals. He visited a lot of campuses. And we have a lot of good things in place in Lamar CISD, but one thing we really heard a lot of feedback on was alignment of our drills, common language. And so one of the things we went to working on immediately, you have some of the documents in front of you at your desk there, but really having common language about our drills in Lamar CISD. We actually had an administrator training on August 3rd where we met with all of the campus administrators. Dallas led that. It was a 90-minute session where we went through each and every drill, which he will talk about here in a second. We also talked about a drill schedule and also reporting requirements. And so there is a minimum requirement for drills every single semester for each campus. They also have to report that back to the school safety department, and he'll work with them to make sure that they are following best practices. In terms of communication responsibilities, we've always worked with campuses to send information out, but this year working with them, campuses will all send out their own communication before any drill. So before they do a lockdown or a lockout or a hold, they will send an email and a text alert to their parents letting them know that that drill is about to happen. If a campus enacts one of these procedures, it's a real emergency, the district communications office will handle that process. It will include both an email and a text alert out to parents immediately when that begins, and we'll follow that up until that event concludes. In terms of text alerts, we are encouraging our parents right now during back to school sign up for all their forms to make sure that they are signing up in family access for text alerts. A lot of our parents have already signed up to receive general information when it comes to emails or phone calls. We want to make sure they just click that box to receive the text alerts as well. And what we're talking about is the Standard Response Protocol, or the SRP model. And to talk more about that, I'll turn it over at this time to Dallas Warren.
Thank you. Well, we'll get right into the Standard Response Protocols, and that model is designed to produce some common language across the board so that all the students, all the administrators, all the teachers, all the parents, and even first responders all are on the same page and know exactly what our response is going to be and what their responsibilities are in the event of a lockdown, lockout, evacuation, shelter, or hold. And you've got some of that information in front of you. I'll go over it real briefly. A lockout is simply when there's an issue or a threat that's off the campus, that's not a direct threat to any of our students, but we want to lock that problem out. A lockdown is whenever there's a threat on the campus and we want to make sure that all the students are safe and provide protection for the students. An evacuation is there's some issue going on, more commonly referred to as a fire drill, where you have to evacuate students to a particular area. Shelter is you shelter for a particular threat. Maybe most commonly would be a weather threat, like a tornado drill. And then the last one is hold. That's simply when you want to hold the students in the classroom. Maybe there's an event going on in the hallways and you want to make sure that students don't go into the hallway. You call a hold. It's business as usual in the classroom, and you delay that change so that whatever the event is that's going on, maybe it's a medical emergency or something that's going on in the hallways, you want to prevent those students from going into the hallways. You have in front of you an emergency bifold. It's got a red and green side to it. That's going to replace in each of our classrooms the flip chart. Those were a little outdated. This has some brief instructions for the teachers and for the students, kind of give them some clues as to what's supposed to be going on to refresh that training that they've already been through. In each one of those responses, at some point the teacher is required to take attendance. The red and green cards are to be held up. It allows the administrator to come by if there's an issue. The teacher can hold up a green card, meaning everything's good, or a red card, meaning, okay, I've got a student that's missing, or maybe I have an extra student that I shouldn't have, or maybe somebody's injured. So it allows somebody to quickly look and scan and see, okay, here's where my problem's at. The rest of it's good. So you go and address those issues very quickly. We provided this training to all the administrators, all the principals and APs. I make that myself available for all the campuses. I've had great response from all the campuses. I think most of them are actually going out and presenting it themselves. They feel very comfortable and very really like the system that we're using now. I have had a couple ask me to come in and assist them with the presentations as well. Some of the other things that I'm going to be doing this semester and throughout this year is the district has an emergency operation plan, as well as every campus has an emergency operation plan. Those campus administrators are required to update those plans each year. I'm going to be reviewing those plans, not only for the district, but also for the individual campuses, reviewing those against best practices and seeing if we need to make any updates there. I'm also going to be going around and doing safety audits at each of the campus. You know, we've got a lot of unique campuses across this district. Some of them have their own unique issues that we may need to address. So I plan on going across and doing an audit at each of the campuses, identifying those things that are unique to those individual campuses so we can kind of collect those. I can work with the site-based administrators to address those, apply best practices, or how we can best address any of the local issues that they have at each campus. And of course, all of our non-school facilities later this semester, we are going to roll out a similar model to the SRP for all of our non-campus buildings. For example, this building that we're in right now, we will be doing the same type of training and roll it out for all other facilities in the district. As you heard earlier, there was a lot of work done this summer on some of the access to the buildings. We funnel all of the visitors to all of our campuses through the entrance to the facility, which has a vestibule. We're working on getting funding, or we all have funded, and we're working on this semester finalizing the buzzers to be added to some of those systems that don't have those, some of those vestibules that don't have them at this time. And of course, also included in that was the classroom intruder lock sets. That work is beginning this semester and is expected to be completed by the end of this semester. You heard a little bit earlier from the technology committee, I believe, talked about the Raptor upgrade. Raptor is the program that uses our visitor management software. We've got a full upgrade and going to redeploy that entire system. It's got a lot of added capabilities that we don't have at this time. Right now, if you come in and it does an automatic background check, it will send out automatic alerts if there's a threat associated with that individual. For example, if they're a registered sex offender. Or we can also enter our own threats. For example, if there's a court order restricting their access or some type of custody dispute going on, those documents can be now entered in the new Raptor system so they can generate an automatic threat so we can get the appropriate people to automatically respond and address that. The system also has panic buttons in it now. That's one of the issues that I think we've talked about in the past that we wanted to add. Raptor system will be, the new Raptor system will have a number of panic buttons that can be added to it. We will then program those for the type of threat, whether it's a violent person that's on campus or maybe just a hostile person that's at the front or even a medical emergency. We can program a voice, text, or email to go out from the system, pre-programmed to whatever individuals and whatever, based on the threat and whatever response needs to be made. And of course, the last thing I want to bring up is the school safety webpage is now live on lcisd.org. That page has all the information that you have in front of you, talking about the standard response protocols. It pushes all that information out. We want to make sure that all the parents and students have that, understand exactly what the response is going to be from this district and from our first responders that come out. My information is on there as well in case there's any questions about any issue at any campus or any security questions. I'm available to answer any questions. They can email me or call me with any concerns or questions that they might have. Thank you.
Once again, I'm impressed with the progress that's been made in such a short period of time. Again, Doctor, and I compliment you and your staff for what we've seen tonight. I'm blown away. Thank you so much.
I just had one question. Was one of those the door stops for the schools that don't have the lock?
The classroom intruder lock sets is what we're going to go to.
Okay.
We had some issues with some other devices that might create a problem with the fire codes.
Yeah, okay. I heard about that. So we figured that out then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, right before Dallas came on, we were meeting with both law enforcement and the fire marshal, and we went through and working with those individuals along with Kevin, Leslie, academic side of the house, that we don't want to inhibit life safety code. And some of those things, you put them into place, and there were some issues there, talking with both the fire marshal and the officers. 14 of our campuses already had the classroom intruder lock set. It requires a key to be locked from both sides. Many of our campuses are used to it, and having that added across the board has the same level of security. But then also for first responders or police officers, they have a uniform mechanism no matter where they go for any campus in Lamar CISD now. They know exactly what the door is going to look like, what the mechanism is going to look like, and there's some uniformity there as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. This information is more guided to the teachers. How about the students? Are they going to be given something like this that they can keep with them to remind them what they should be doing?
Yeah, and the document that you've got in front of you is the guides for the administrators and the teachers, and it gives the teachers the instructions. The teachers will then be pushing that same information out to their students, and then the drills are where we actually practice that, and so the students learn that procedure as well. And we set the minimum number of drills that we want to be conducted throughout the year, but as they go through those and they do those after action reports, if there's an issue or something comes up, they can always run those more than what we've asked them to.
I just thought maybe a little brochure for the students.
Yeah, and in fact, actually, the one page that you have, I think, Mr. Hubenak, that's also in there, the red and green card, but then there's a one page as well. That's available for parents if they go on to the
Okay,
website.
so parents will be informed what their child is learning in school.
Yeah.
So they could actually reinforce it at home.
And if anyone right now pulled up the website, went to the safety page right now, they can click the SRP link, and there'd be the flyer there with all 5 drills, what teachers do, what a student does. So part of the plan is to also continue to inform parents and students about what does a hold mean, what does a lockdown mean, what does a lockout mean, so that they have an understanding when we send out those text alerts, they know what that means in certain contexts.
And just to make sure, it is for all elementary schools, all the way through the high schools, everything will be the same?
Everything's the same.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is awesome. It's very easy to understand. Well, you know, simplicity is the best way to go.
Before I forget it, board members, bring these back full for the September board meeting.
Oh, full.
Full is the operative word there.
I'm going to hit up on that for you.
Do we have any other items, information items anybody had any questions about? If not, we need to go into closed session for just a few minutes. Adjourn to closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code Sections 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, and 551.082 of the Open Meetings Act, and the time is 8:15. We'll reconvene in open session at 8:22. The no action items in the closed session. Future agenda items, besides jars. Upcoming meetings and events.
Well, convocation.
Convocation, new teacher dinner.
And the Grove Project.
First day of school.
The Grove Project. Is it 9 or 9:30?
Summer graduation.
9. Summer graduation. Yeah, we're just busy.
A lot of good stuff coming up.
Yeah. Well,
Anything else? Nothing else to bring before the board. We will adjourn to 8:22. Thank you, everybody.